Hi everyone and welcome to this session. My name is Mahlatse Mutlani and I'm a second year medical student at Wits University. I've been receiving text from a lot of students in need of my assistance, for the metric final exam preparations. So, since I'm also a student, I also have got my own exam preps to do. So, as like to avoid having to assist each and every one of those students that approached me in need of assistance individually, I was like, okay, how about I make videos of past papers, upload them on YouTube so that each and every one of you guys can access them, anytime. So I was like, okay, let me just sacrifice, a fraction of my time for all those students in need. So, and please, guys, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification button. Hit the notification bell so that you don't miss out on important videos that I'm going to upload for your final examination preparation. So, we're gonna start off with as indicated here, the November 2017 Mathematics Paper 1. So, um, and guys, most importantly, I'm gonna share with you the very easiest tips and hints on how to approach problems that you may face in your final examinations. Okay, I'm gonna do each and every. Now, question 1.1.1. This is if I'm not gonna without any waste of time. This is a solve for x question. Now, don't waste your time on this type of questions. Like you can see, the mark allocation is 3 marks. So let's quickly go into it. Um, okay, guys. First step, you know that you've got to look for your factors. Okay, in my metric, there was an easiest approach. I had an easiest approach for finding my factors. Okay, I'm just gonna cut off this space here as my rough work. Okay, what you do, guys, let's look at our first. We are given a trinomial. Let's look at our first term. It is x squared. What is the coefficient of that term? The coefficient is a 1, even though it's not written. It's called a ghost 1. It's 1. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna note it down, 1 and 1. Each one for each of our factors. We've got to, at the end, we've got to have 2 factors. Okay, we also going to look at the last term, the constant, which is 14. Now, what are the factors of 14? The factors of 14 are 1, 2, 7, and 14. So, which 2 factors can potentially give us the middle term, the coefficient of the middle term, which is 9. Which two factors of 14 can give us that term, that coefficient, if we sum them up? Okay, we've got 1, 2, 7, and 14. So, okay, obviously it's going to be 2 and 7. So we note them down here, 7 and 2. What you do is that you cross multiply. 1 times 7 is going to be 7. 1 times 2 is going to be 2. What do? We add them. They give us 9. So, okay. So you can see that they've got to carry positive signs, both of them, because our middle term is going to be positive 9, or is positive 9, as you can see. So then that is where we're going to put our x's. These are our two vectors, x plus 7, x plus 2 equals 0. X plus 7 equals 0, or x plus 2 equals 0. X equals negative 7, or x equals negative 2. Those are our two answers. Okay, let's move on to the next question, which is question 1. Question 1.2.1. And again, guys, most importantly, if you see indicated inside brackets correct to 2 decimal places, you're not gonna waste your time in trying to find out for the vectors. You're just gonna apply the quadratic formula. So okay, let's just take it down. It's 4x squared plus 9x minus 3. Our quadratic formula, as you know it's negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2a. Let's substitute in our values. Here are our values. Negative, our b is 9, so it's going to be 9 plus or minus 9 squared minus 4, a is 4, our c is negative 3, all divided by 2, our a is 4. Let's now punch in our values on a calculator. So it was negative 9. Okay, let me just do that. Negative 9 plus 9 squared minus 4 into 4 times negative 3 divided by 2 times 4. That is our answer. Our first answer is 0.29. Let me just do the second one while we're still on it. It is negative 2.54. The 4x. Okay guys, most importantly, in the examination, in the exam, don't forget to simplify. You're gonna get marks for simplifying. In the interest of time, and yeah, I'm just gonna avoid doing that, so I'm just gonna write down the answers, the solutions. It was 0.29, or x equals negative 2.54. Let's move on to the next question. It's x squared minus 5. It's root x squared minus 5 equals 2 root x. 4 marks. Should take note of the mark allocation. It will help you know where you're gonna get allocated. So 1.1.3 was 5x, x squared minus 5 under the root sign equals 2 root x. Okay, what you're gonna do here is that you've got to remove the root signs. How do you remove? This is a square root, so you've got to square both sides. So we're going to square both sides. We're going to be left with x squared minus 5 equals 2 squared is going to be 4x. Take the 4 to the other side. It's going to be x squared minus 5 minus minus 4x minus 5 equals 0. We now have our equation in standard form. We can factorize. Now again, we've got 1 and 1. Of the factors of 5 is a prime number. It only has 2 factors. Remember, prime numbers have got 2 factors, 1 and itself. So it's 1 and 5. Cross multiply as before. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 5 is 5. Okay, I'm going to also share with you another tip here. Let's look at the sign of the last term, which is the constant. It's a negative 5. It already tells us that our factors are going to carry 2 different signs. One factor is going to have a negative, another factor is going to have a positive. Now, how do you go about deciding which factor is gonna have a negative, which one is gonna have a positive? Okay, you look at the second term, which is negative 4x. It has a negative in it, so automatically the big number is going to carry the sign of the middle term, which is negative. The big number is 5, so it's negative 5, positive 5. So it is plus minus our x's. They are our factors. Is x plus 1, x plus minus 5 equals 0. X equals negative 1, or x equals 5. Okay, without no further waste of time, let's move on to the next question. The next question is solve for x and y If 3x minus y equals 4 and x squared plus 2xy minus y squared equals 2 for 6 marks. That was 1.2. 3x minus y equals 4 and x squared plus 2xy minus y squared equals -2. Now guys, this is a simultaneous equation. What you do here, it's like, look at this equation. It's got y in it, and then its coefficient is -1. So we're gonna make y the subject of the formula. So if we make y the subject of the formula, we're gonna remain with y equals 3x minus 4. Now this is going to be our first equation. Now what you do is that, okay, automatically this is going to be our second equation, because of shortage of space, I'm not gonna indicate that it is our second equation. Now what we're gonna do is that we're gonna substitute equation 1 into equation 2. We're going to have x squared plus 2x into 3x minus 4 minus 3x minus 4 squared equals -2. Simplify. X squared plus 6x squared minus 8x minus into 9x squared minus 24x plus 16 equals -2. We also simplifying here. 7x squared minus 8x minus 9x squared plus 24x plus 16 equals -2. If you can notice there, I was removing the bracket here, because you've got to be careful. In front of the bracket there's a minus sign, so it's going to automatically affect the signs of whatever is inside the bracket. So let us simplify. And simplifying, you're gonna have 7x squared. Sorry, okay, let us look for like terms. We've got this and this one. 7x squared minus 9x squared is going to be -2x squared. This one and this one are like terms as well. Minus 8x plus 24x is going to give you 16x squared. 16x, then plus 16 equals -2. So let's take the 2 to the other side. We're going to be left with -2x squared plus 16x plus 18. Sorry guys, I realized I made a mistake here. Sorry about that. This is the type of mistakes that you make when there's a minus sign in front of a bracket. So it is supposed to be negative 16, negative here, so it's also going to be negative here, so it's going to be negative 14 when we take the 2 to the other side, equals 0. Take out the common factor. What is the common factor? It is the coefficient of the first term, which is negative 2. So we divide by that common factor. You can say divided by negative 2 divided by negative 2. What you do on one side, you must do it on the other side. So you're going to be left with x squared plus 8x plus 7 equals 0. Now let's factorize what we did, what we've been doing. The coefficient of the first term is 1, therefore we're going to have 1, 1. Now let's look at the last term, the constant. It is 7. 7 is a prime number. It only has 2 factors, which is 1 and itself. Now both the middle and the last term have positive signs, so it means that we're going to have, let's start by cross multiplying. This is going to be 1. It's going to be 1. 1 times 7 is going to be 7. It's positive because both the signs are positive, so it's going to be plus and plus. Put in your x's. Those are your 2 factors. This x plus 1 and x plus 7 equals 0. X equals negative 1 or x equals negative 7. Remember guys, this is a simultaneous equation. We are not done yet. We've got to calculate the value of y. Remember, our equation 1 was y equals 3x minus 4. Now let's substitute in the value of x here. It's going to be 3 into negative 1 minus 4. It's going to be negative 1. If you simplify that, 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. Sorry guys, I think I must have made a mistake again here. Yes, I made a mistake here. It is not supposed to be positive 8. It's supposed to be negative 8. Why am I saying that? The reason I'm saying that is because here we have got positive 16x. So when we divide with negative 2, when you divide with negative 2, this sign, this positive, is going to change into negative. Yes, so that means what we've been doing here was a mistake. Okay, so I'm happy that I made this mistake, because now that we've got 2 different signs here, we've got negative 8x and positive 7. What I said is that whenever the sign before the constant is positive, That means your brackets are going to have the same, they're going to carry the same sign. So what determines which sign they're going to carry is the middle term, which in this case is -8. So it's a negative, so it means they're going to have negative negative. It's negative negative. I'm not going to waste time here. So it's -1, -7. If you can add this up, -1 plus -7, they're gonna give you -8. So I'm going to correct this here. I'm also going to correct this. Also going to correct this and this is -1, -7. X is +1 or x equals +7. Let's just rectify the mistake there. So it's going to be 3 times 1, which is going to be 3, minus 4 is going to give you -1. That is the answer. Or y equals 3 times 7. Let me just wrap this off here to create a little bit of some space. 3 times 7 minus 4. 3 times 7 is 21 minus 4 is going to give you 17. 17. So these are our two y values. Let's write them in coordinate form. It's 1 and -1 and 7 and 17. Sorry about that, guys. Now let's move on to the next question, which is question 1.3. We are given f of x equals x squared plus 8x plus 16. The first question, which is 1.3.1, says solve for x if f of x equals, if f of x is greater than 0. These are inequalities, guys. So let's go back to doing it. 1.3.1. Now we've got f of x, which is f of x equals x squared plus 8x plus 16. Now the question says solve for the values of x for which f of x is greater than 0. For which f of x is greater than 0. So we're going to say x squared plus 8x plus 16 is greater than 0. Now we've got it in standard form. That means we can factorize. What are the factors of 16? Vectors of 16 that can potentially give us 8, the middle term. We've got it's 4 and 4. Remember, the factors of 16 are 1, 2, 4, 8, and 16 itself. So those that can give us the middle term are 4 and 4. So I'm not gonna waste time, guys. I've already shown you that trick that we're going to have x plus 4 and x plus 4 greater than 0. So this is one solution. It's the same, both solutions are equal. So what you're gonna do is we're gonna draw a number line here. So put in our value, our critical point, our critical value, which is going to be -4. -4. What you're going to do here is you're going to substitute the values that are less than -4 into the solution. Let's go to the calculator. We've got remember it is -4, so it's going to be -4 squared plus 8 x. 8 into x is -4. You're going to realize that this is going to give us 0. Sorry, -4 plus 16. This is going to give us 0. Now let's substitute a value less than -4. For example, 3, -3. It's positive, it's 1. Substitute -5, -5, it's still positive. Now you can already tell that all the values on this side of the number line are going to be positive. Now let's go to the calculator again and substitute any value that is greater than -4. Sorry, I'm going to have, okay, it's going to be any value that is greater than -4. It's going to be negative, okay, what's that, -3 squared plus 8 into -3 plus 16. This is +1. Substitute -2. It's still positive, +4. Substitute maybe a positive number. Substitute 3, for example. It's still positive. So this tells us that every value on this side of the number line is also going to be positive. It's also going to carry a positive sign. So therefore that means it's all the real values of x. X is an element of real numbers, but x is not equals 0. That is the reason I first started with -4 in the substitution. Remember, 0 is not included. If 0 was included, like in this case, you were not going to include this, which is x is not equals 0. Sorry man, x is not equals -4. -4. Okay, let's now move on to the next question. It says, for which values of p will f of x equals p have 2 equal negative roots? Now, nature of roots, guys. This is (1.3.2). Now remember, with nature of roots, that is where we're gonna work with the delta, that expression under the square root sign in the quadratic formula, which is b squared minus 4ac. Remember what the question said. It said, for which values of p will f of x equals p have 2 unequal negative roots? Now, to have to have unequal and real roots, what should delta be? Delta should be greater than 0, but it shouldn't be equal to 0, because if it's going to be equal to 0, it means that your two solutions are going to be equal. In this case, the question said that for unequal roots, so for unequal roots, for real and unequal roots, for real and unequal roots, we're going to have delta must be greater than 0. So therefore means that b squared minus 4ac must be greater than 0. Now let's work it out. Remember, the f of x was x squared plus 8x plus 16. Let's just go to confirm it. There is your f of x. Now the question continues. The question says, for which values of p will f of x equals p? Now let's equate it to p. X squared plus 8x plus 16 equals p. Sorry. Now to use this rule, to apply this, it's gotta be in standard form. This has to be in standard form. Now it's not yet in standard form because it's not equals to 0. Now we've got to take p to the other side, so it's going to be x squared plus 8x plus 16 minus p equals 0. Now it's in standard form. We can apply that delta equals b squared minus 4ac. Now here is our a, it's 1 goes to 1. There is our b. Now here the whole of this is going to be our c. So let's substitute. Remember, substitute here. So b squared, our b is 8 squared minus 4 into a, which is 1, and c, which is 16 minus p. This must be greater than 0 for real and unequal roots, as I've indicated. So simplify, it's going to be 64 minus 64 plus 4p is greater than 0. Now this cancels, gonna be left with 4p is greater than 0. Therefore you've got to divide both sides by 4. P is going to be greater than 0. We are not yet done. We've only shown for real and unequal roots. Now therefore it means that this, okay, these are our roots. This negative 8 plus or minus 4p. This is what we've just found from the previous question. These are our roots. For negative roots, remember the question had two instructions. For negative roots, the whole of this, okay, the whole of this excluding 2 because 2, this is a fraction, this must be less than 0 for the roots to be negative. I'm going to show you with a graph. So negative 8 plus or minus 4p must be less than 0 for the roots to be negative. So let's simplify this. Okay, I'm just going to use the positive one. Negative 8 plus 4p is less than 0. 4p is less than 8. Then remove this square root sign by squaring both sides. 4p is less than 64. Now divide by 4 both sides. You're going to be left with p is less than 64 divided by 4 is 16. Now remember, our first solution was p is greater than 0, and this is our second solution. P is less than 16. That means p has to be between 0 and 16. Therefore, 0 is less than p is less than 16. We're gonna get full marks for this. Okay, now let's move on to the next question. Question 2, your sequences there. Given the following quadratic number pattern, 5, -4, -19, and -40, determine the constant second difference of the sequence. Please guys, don't waste your time on this type of questions. Question 2. 2.1.1, we had 5, -4, -19, -40, remember these are arithmetic sequences, so it's going to be -4 minus 5, it's -9, -19 minus into -4, the sign is going to change into positive, it's going to be -15. -40 minus -19, it's going to be 21, -21. This is the first difference. Now -15 minus into -9, it's going to be -6. Same applies here. -21 minus -15 is going to be -6. This is your second difference as requested by the question. So your second difference, okay, second difference is -16. The next question, determine the nth term Tn of the pattern. This is a second difference sequence. It's okay, let's memorize these values because we're going to need them on the next page. 5, -9, and -6. So we've got the first difference, which is 2a equals -6. Simplify, a equals -3. Now the first term of the first difference was -9. Remember that is 3a plus b is going to be equals to -9. We already have the value of a. Substitute into the equation. -3 into -3 plus b equals -9. Simplify. Your b is going to be 0 because this is going to be -9. When you take it to the other side, it's going to change and become +9. -9 plus 9 gives you 0. The first term of the sequence was 5, so plus b plus c equal to 5. We already have a, we have b. A was -3 plus 0 plus c equals 5. Simplify, take -3 to the other side, your c equals 8. It's going to be 8. Now we have the value of c, we had the value of b, we also had the value of a. Now let's write down the equation for the nth term. It's going to be -3n squared plus 0, I'm not going to write it down here, plus c, which is 8. Let's move on to the next question. Which term of the pattern will be equal to -25,939? Which term of the pattern? Now they've given you the number which is -25. Okay, just to indicate that this is a different question. This was 2.1.3. Tn equal to -3n squared plus 8. Now they've given us the number which was 25,939 equals -3n squared plus 8. Okay, now what you're gonna do, gonna take everything to this side. It's going to be 3n squared minus 25,939 minus 8 equals 0. Simplify the n squared minus this plus that gives you 25,947 equals 0. Now let's factor out, take out the common factor. Let's see if this is divisible by 3. Where's a calculator? Now it's 2,597. Sorry, 9,947 divided by 3. It was 2,597 divided by 3. It is 8,649. Yes, it is divisible by 3. So let's take out, divide both sides by 3. We're going to be left with n squared minus 8,649 equals 0. Now let's go find out if this is a perfect square. What you do here, this is another trick that I'm going to show you guys, is you press on the shift function, shift and factorize. It's going to factorize it for you. Sorry, let's the number was 88649. Shift and factorize. There is it. These are the prime factors. 3 squared times 31. So if we take the square root of both, it's going to be 3 times 31, which is 3 times 31. So it's 93. You can also check if we use the square root. It was 8649. That is 93. The square root of that is 93. Yes, it's a perfect square. So this is a difference of 2 squares. So we're going to have n plus 93 into and n minus 93 equals 0. Now n equals 93 or n equals negative 93. Remember, these are patterns. N has to be an element of natural numbers. It cannot be negative. N starts from 1 to infinity. It's going to be n. This is not going to be equals to 93. N is n an element of natural numbers. Therefore, n equals 93. Our next question, 2.2. The first 3 terms of an arithmetic sequence are 2k minus 7, k plus 8, and 2k minus 1. Now calculate the value of the 15th term of this sequence for 5 marks. Now they're not saying calculate the value of the 15th term in terms of k. So which means we've got to calculate the value of k. Now we have 2k minus 7, k plus 8, and 2k minus 1. This is the first term, the second term, and the third term. Remember, this is an arithmetic sequence. They've told us so. You know, for arithmetic sequences, t2 minus t1 equals t3 minus t2. Now we're gonna have k plus 8 minus into 2k minus 7 equals 2k minus 1 minus into k plus 8. Let's simplify this. K plus 8 minus 2k minus negative times negative gives you positive plus 7 equals 2k minus 1 minus k minus 8. K minus 2k, it's negative k. 8 plus 7 is 15 equals k minus 2k minus k is k. Negative 1 minus negative 8 is negative 9. Now let's take this to the other side. It's going to be negative k minus k equals negative 9 minus 15. Now negative 2k equals negative 24. divide both sides by 2, by negative 2, it's going to give you k equals 12. Okay, now let's substitute t1 equaled tk minus 7, 2k, k which is 12 minus 7 equals 12. 2 times 12 is 24 minus 7 is going to give us 17. 17. T2 equal to, let's go and verify, k plus 8. K plus 8, k which is 12 plus 8. 12 plus 8 gives us 20. And T3 was, let's go and confirm, 2k minus 1. 2 into k, which is 12, minus 1. 3 minus 1 here. T3 equals to 2 times 12 is 24 minus 1 is 23. There is our first term, T1, second term, which is T2, and T3. Now, what we're gonna do is you can already tell from by inspection that the difference is going to be 3. 20 minus 17 is 3. 23 minus 20 is 3. So our D is 3. Our A is the first term, which is 17. The equation for the nth term is Tn equals A plus n minus 1 multiplied by T. So therefore T15 is equal to A plus 14D. From this equation we can derive this equation for the 15th term. So therefore T15 is going to be equal to A, which was 17, plus 14 multiplied by the difference, which was 3. 17 plus 14 times 3 is going to give us, let's go punch that in. So it was 17 plus 14 into 3. This is 59. That is our 15th term. T15 equals 59. Okay, let's move on to the question that follow, which is 2.2.2. Calculate the sum of the first 30 even terms of this sequence. Now guys, there's more than one way of solving this, of which the simplest and the first one is going to be, okay, our sequence was 17, 20 and 23. The difference was 3. So let's go on to the next page. Sorry about that. It was 17, 20, 23. Now the difference was 3. 23 plus 3 is going to be 26. 26, sorry, plus 3 is 29, plus 3 is 32. Now you can already tell from the sequence which terms are even It's 20, 26, and 32. So from there we can write them down. 20 is going to be the first term of the sequence, 26, 32. Now you can tell from there what the difference is. It's no longer 3. The difference is 26 minus 6 minus 20 is 6. 32 minus 26 is 6. Now there is our difference. We've got our difference. We've got our first term, which is A. Now the answer, the question said, calculate the sum of the first 30 even terms. So Sn is equal to n over 2 into 2a plus n minus 1d. As 30 is going to be n, which is 30 over 2 into 2 multiplied by the first term, which was 20. Remember, we're no longer talking about the very first sequence. Now we are on the even one, plus n, which is 30 minus 1, all into 6, our difference. Now it's equal to 15 into 2 times 20, it's 40, plus 29 times 6. Now let's go and punch that on our calculator. We had 15 all into 15 all into 40 plus 29 times the difference, which was 6. That is 3210. That is the sum of the first 30 even, as 30 equaled 3210. Question 3. A convergent geometric series. Now they've already told us that, telling us that this series converges. Remember, for converging series, we've got the r lying in between -1 and 1. So -1 is less than r is less than 1, in which r cannot be equal to 0. A convergent geometric sequence, a series consisting of only positive terms, has first term A, constant ratio r, and nth term Tn, such that sigma Tn equals 1/4, where n equals 3 and the number of this is n is equals to infinity. If T1 plus T2 equals 2, write down an expression for A in terms of R. Now we can write down there's a lot of answers for this one, but then we're just gonna get the first two. So this is 3.1. It told us that sigma n equals 3, Tn equaled 1/4. Now this means that the T1 n is equal to 1 and n equals to 2 are not included in this one. Now remember, we were also given that T1 plus T2 equals 2. equal to 2. Now, which means that this, if we add this and this, now they're going to give us the sum to infinity of the whole sequence. So the sum to infinity is going to be equal to T1 plus T2 plus the sigma notation from n equals to 3 of Tn, which is equal to, you know, the equation sigma s infinity equals a over 1 minus r. Now let's substitute in our values. A over 1 minus r equals T1 plus T2, equals equals 2. T1 plus T, this equals 2, and this equals 1 over 4. So it's 2 plus 1 over 4. 1 over 1 minus r equals 2 plus 1 over 4 is going to give us 9 over 4. Now let's simplify, cross multiply. We're going to have 9 minus 9r equals 4 equals 4a. This was supposed to be a. Yes, it is a there. Equals 4a. So let's maybe make a the subject of the formula and divide by 4 on both sides, equals 9 minus 9r over 4. Then or we can say that a, which is T1 plus, from this T1 plus T2 equals 2. T1 is a, T2 is ar. These are geometric sequences. This is all this is going to be equal to 2. Now take out the common factor of a, which is going to leave us with 1 plus r inside the brackets equals to 2. Now if you divide by 1 plus r, we're going to be left with a equals 2 over 1 plus r. As I told you that this gives us a lot of many possible solutions. A can be written in this form, a can be written in this form. They are both correct, and it can also be written in other forms that I haven't shown to you guys here. They may also be correct. Now let's move on to the the next question. Calculate the values of a and r. We now have to calculate the values of a and r. Now guys, remember we had the value, we had a in terms of r. What do you think is going to happen if we equate these two, since they are now equal? Since they are equal but they've got different, they are expressed differently. 3.2 a equals a. Let's now equate them. 2 over 1 plus r equals 9 minus 9r over 4. Now let's cross multiply that. Cross multiply. We're going to have 1 plus r multiplied by 9 minus 9r equals 2 times 4, which is 8. Now let's simplify here. We're going to have 9. 1 times negative 9r is minus 9r. R times 9 is plus 9r. R times negative 9r is minus 9r squared. This cancels, equals 8. We're going to have, let's simplify. We're going to have 9 minus 9r squared equals 8. Okay, before we even do that, let's take 8 to this side. Minus 8 equals 0. So 9 minus 8 is 1. That means we're going to have negative 9r squared minus 1 equals 0. Now take out the common factor of negative 1. Sorry, just realized I made a mistake on the previous one. Okay, 9 minus 8 is 1, not negative 1. It is positive 1, not negative. So take out a common factor of negative 1, divide the whole expression by negative. We're going to be left with 9r squared plus, sorry, must be tired guys, it's been an hour. Minus 1 equals 0. So this is a difference of two perfect squares. So let's factorize. It's going to be 3r minus 1, 3r plus 1 equals 0. Now the solutions are going to be 3r minus 1 equals 0, or 3r plus 1 equals 0. 3r equals 1 divided by, okay, divide both sides by 3. This is going to cancel out, or 3r equals negative 1. Divide both sides by 3. This is going to cancel out. Going to be left with r equals 1 over 3, or r equals negative 1 over 3. Now remember guys, they told us in the statement that this is a convergent geometric sequence consisting of only positive terms. So r cannot be a negative. It means that we're going to exclude this one. Therefore r is this one. You're going to get a mark for that one. So since we've got our value of r, let's now calculate our value of a. A was equal to 2 over 1 plus r. 1 plus r equals, substitute 1, our r is 1 over 3. Let's simplify that. It's going to give us 2 over 4. 1 plus 1 over 3 is 4 over 3. Now this is equal to 2 multiplied by 3 over 4, because this is 2 divided by 4 over 3. If we change the sign, the division sign, into a multiplication, that means we've got to inverse 4 over 3 into 3 over 4. So this is 2 goes there once, it goes there twice. Therefore our value of a equals 3 over 2. Okay guys, I'm going to end it off there. That is our first part of the video. I'm going to continue carry on to question 4 in the second part of the video.